Most recreational cipher types are not represented in literature. In some cases, it's because they're too new or not widely known. In other cases, it's because the writers wanted to show off their mad writing skills by creating their own cryptograms. In still others, the writers insisted on using symbol-based variations of simple substitution, as with Poe's Goldbug and Arthur Conan Doyle's Dancing Men. What makes things a bit harder for me in finding columnar transposition ciphers in fiction is that in his cryptofiction page, John Dooley uses transposition to refer to a wide variety of types in different books, and never specifically identifies anything as columnar. Okay, that brings me to Jules Verne's Journey to the Center of the Earth. I expect that most people at least know Verne by name, even if they've never read anything by him. Born in 1828 in a small town in France, Verne was a prolific writer. His Extraordinary Voyages series consists of 54 novels, and Journey to the Center of the Earth is listed on Wikipedia as the third of the series. Published in 1864 and set in 1863, Journey is exactly as the title states. A group of 3 adventurers find a cavern in a dormant volcano that leads into the Earth's crust, where they have fantastic adventures before returning safely to the surface several months later. The narrator is Axel, the nephew of Professor Otto Leidenbrock. Otto buys a runic manuscript of an Icelandic saga, inside which is a cipher written by fictional alchemist Árni Saknussemm, who claims to have visited the center of the Earth. Verne doesn't give the reader much of a chance to break the cipher themselves, preferring to have Otto grandstand in solving it for us. The cipher starts out as a series of runes. Otto tells us that it's a very well-known Old Norse character set that he then transliterates into French letters. I was unable to track down the exact runic letter set Verne used. Regardless, he immediately gives us the alphabet equivalent and states that it's been enciphered by a transposition of some kind. Note that some of the runes are thicker than others, which Otto interprets to mean that they're uppercase. The presence of punctuation indicates that we do have a transposition with a sentence structure, but no word spacing. Note also that MM is actually one letter. We don't have much in the way of background on the cipher at this point, but it is accompanied by the name Árni Saknussemm, which we can use for a possible word attack. This is the transliteration that the professor gives us. If you want to try solving the cipher on your own, pause the video now and come back when you're ready. Professor Lidenbrock considers himself a competent cryptographer and claims that Saknussemm must have been a true man of science. So he argues that the message must be written in Latin. He does manage to hit on the transposition method on his own, but after several days he's completely unable to figure out the final step, and it's up to Axel to catch on to the trick. The thing is, Verne does introduce the idea of probable words in his 1882 novel, 800 Leagues on the Amazon, even though he gets the details wrong. So he knows roughly how to do a probable word attack, even if Otto doesn't. We know what to look for, so we can crack this cipher in a few minutes. If you want to try solving this cipher now, pause the video and come back when you're ready. The hint should be painfully obvious to anyone with even a little experience. As I mentioned above, MM is treated as one letter. It only appears once in the crypt as the first character on the first line. It's also the last character of Árni's last name. Working backwards on Saknussemm, we have MM, E, S, S, and so on. Looking at the first letter of each grouping, we have MM, E, S, S in the first 4 groups. If you want to try solving the cipher now, pause the video and come back when you're ready. This suggests that the groups should be rearranged in columns. Starting with the capital A in line 13 and working up, we get Árni Saknussemm. Notice that Latin doesn't have a letter U. If you want to finish the cipher on your own, pause the video and come back when you're ready. We have 2 choices. Either read off the columns left to right, and then reverse the order, or start with in Sneffels in column 7 and read the text in reverse columns from right to left. Regardless, it should be clear from the placement of the probable word that the text is reversed. This is the step that Otto spends several days struggling over unsuccessfully. And we get the following text in Latin. Change V to U and K to Q for quad. Add word spaces. Now, you probably noticed long ago that I'm not very good at reading words in other languages, so I'm not going to try reading the Latin here. There are several ways to translate this from Latin to English. Google Translate does a pretty poor job of it. Simplified, we get our finished text. Enter the crater of Sneffels, touched by the shadow of Scartaris, on the first day of July, Roman calendar, and you will reach the center of the world. I did this. Arni Saknussemm. Okay, so how does this relate to anything? Well, as a cipher, Verne's Latin version of the message can be treated as a double transposition, according to Dooley, where the first step was to reverse the text order, and the second was to write the text in rows of 21 letters, and read off the columns with a sequential key, 1 through 21, in column length groups. I should clarify that there's a certain amount of smoke and mirrors going on with the cipher. Gutenberg Project has two versions of the novel, one a translation from French into English, which came out in 1877, and the other a complete rewrite in English in 1871. The translation has a few errors, one apparently introduced during the type-up for Gutenberg, and two apparently pre-existing in the translation. CCRMI needs to be CCDRMI. ATSAAR has to be ATVAAR, and period NVCRC needs to be period NSKRC. There are a lot of changes in the rewrite, such as the transliteration from runes to Latin letters already have substitutions for I to J and V to U, and Joculus crater becomes Ioculus crater with a Y. But the error, which is more interesting, is in the reversed message, which has IILRJ instead of IILUJ, giving July in place of July. The rewrite version of the book does have July correct in the final plaintext. The version of the transliterated Latin ciphertext I used in this video, and pinned in the comments, has been corrected to generate the proper plaintext given in the 1877 translation. That's everything for Journey to the Center of the Earth. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you at the next bookshop. Got questions, comments, or suggestions? Leave them in the comments below. Enjoyed this video? Then I encourage you to hit the like button and subscribe to this channel. If you want to show further support, you can join us over at the Black Chamber Patreon page, where you can get access to more how-to videos and PDFs on solving the cipher types covered here, additional crypts to solve, and more. Links pinned in the comments below. See you at the next drop point.